Let's go, girls.
It's women talking football.
Women talking football.
Not to be confused with
WFT.
ever. Don't confuse it with WFT. Don't do it. Yo, let's go. It's Women Talking Football, or WTF for short. Of course, never, ever to be confused with WFT. We are the women, a pair of producers here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, running the ship, talking football. It's just women talking football on International Women's Month. My name's Mallory Hartley. I'm the coordinating producer of recruiting. That's the first time I've actually said my title out loud on a show before here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And in there, running the control room and making sure you can hear us, it's our associate producer, Miss Vianney Moreno.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm nervous, excited, so many emotions running through me.
How was state basketball? Because you and Pickle went down there for boys state basketball down in San Antonio.
Yes.
How was it?
It was really good. It was cool to see everything from the production side of things. Good to see all the broadcasters. It was cool to see 1A basketball. It was. I wish I could have seen 6A though. But other than that, the atmosphere was great. There was a good crowd for the smaller schools too, which was super fun to watch. And yeah, Step was there. All the love at state basketball. It was good.
I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
I would have given anything to be there with you guys.
At one point, somebody was like, because Mallory's not here, you have to fill in. I was like, I'm not as fun and quirky and a bundle of joy.
That is not.
I was like, it's a lot those are big shoes to fill.
No. You are, if not more lively than I am, 99% of the time.
Regardless, it was fun, and we missed you a lot. So.
Well, we're glad you're back. But like I mentioned, happy International Women's Month.
Yes.
Yeah, very excited.
Happy
the month of March,
Women's
we are
Month.
Celebrating women in sports and women all across the world for just being great.
Yeah.
And Ashley Pickle, my beloved co-host of Women Talking Football, is unfortunately out sick today. She's riding the struggle bus, but she is on, I hope, the up curve of it all, and she's feeling a little bit better. We've been taking care of her, but it was really sad knowing that I was going to have to do Women Talking Football this month on International Women's Month without my female co-host.
Yeah.
So here to join me, sitting to my right, is none other than Carter Yates of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Carter, thanks for joining Women Talking Football.
Mallory, they say in life you always want most what you can't have. And for the longest time, I could not be on Women Talking Football, no matter how hard I tried. The response from Ashley Pickle was basically like, all over my dead body, you'll be on Women Talking Football. Well, she and the crew at San Antonio for state championship basketball kind of got squad wiped with the illness down there. So I hate the circumstances that I'm here under.
Yes.
But I'm so happy to be here.
Your initial reaction when you found out that you were going to be on Women Talking Football for the very first time?
I had to thank God and give God the glory first off. It was a surreal moment because I've been so happy to do a lot of multimedia podcast work for Dave Campbell's, but this is the one show, this has been like my golden goose, my white whale of like, I can't have that. I can't be on the show. And I just respect so much what y'all have built here. And I just wanted a piece of it, but I couldn't have it until today.
And I haven't checked the YouTube comments. I'm sure Ashley Pickle is currently watching this show.
So,
what do you think her initial reaction was when she found out that you were going to be taking her place during the month of March?
I think horror would be the right word. Probably mentally feeling as bad as she does physically.
I think she feels
knowing
worse.
that I'd be on the show, but I hope I can make her proud today. Filling in her place. This will be the only time I'm on the show, and I'll never ask for anything else from Pickle ever again.
I think you owe her a lot after this. Really, I think you do. She is in the comments. Hey, Pickle, I miss you very much. But
might I want to add, we have an angry Matt Stepp very,
Oh my gosh, this
very
is just
angry
great.
with the H.
Here's the thing. First of all, ladies, happy International Women's Month. We
you.
had to have a woman talking football on International Women's
That's what I'm
Month.
saying. Right, of course. We had to. I mean, that's why we're doing this show, and that's why you're filling in, right? Okay. Well, actually, it was mostly our producer, Vianney Moreno. She was the one that wanted us to do this show.
Listen,
But
I encouraged it. I was like, let's just set it up. I have to admit, Pickle, I'm sorry. I encouraged this.
She did.
The sites that I would have seen, it was just too good to be true. Too good to be
I know.
happening.
But anyways, I promise you, we actually have a show for you today. We're not just going to sit here and,
Yeah, we do.
have Carter yap about whatever he wants to yap
Yeah, no
about.
one
We
wants
actually have a show for you guys. It's episode 85, I believe, of Women Talking Football. We've already done 85 of these things, which is crazy.
Snaps.
And then wanted to give a quick shout out to Ashley's brother, Jake. It is his birthday today. So big shout out
Shout
to
out,
Jake
Jake.
Pickle.
Happy birthday!
Love you, bro. Love you like my own bro. But
The
happy
best
birthday.
hair of anybody I know.
Oh my gosh, I
Jake
know.
Pickle.
I know.
Flow
His hair
God.
is flowing. He's killing it. So, all right. Shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So first of all, you have been kind of busy on the coaching trail, I want to say, for the past couple of months. You've kind of been our coaching.
Well, Matt Stepp is the one breaking the coaching
he's breaking
hires,
the coaching.
but I've done
You're
feature
diving
stories.
deep into it, as in like you're picking some of the coaches that you think are the splash hires, are going to make the biggest impacts in the Texas high school football world this
I make
upcoming season.
Can I make an announcement on Women Talking Football exclusively? Because I haven't told anyone this.
Yes.
I've been switched over to high school writing full time at Dave Campbell's.
I should have mentioned that. I'm sorry. But
And that's
yes,
why
you
we're
have.
doing my top 3 favorite Texas high school football coaching hires. I've written a story about all 3 of these guys. I'm going to be doing the college football podcast with Mike Craven, but writing is going to be exclusively about the high school side from here on out. So that's a Women Talking Football exclusive.
That is a Women Talking Football exclusive. We also call him the Tom Rinaldi of Dave Campbell's Texas
Yes.
football because you are a very great feature writer. But you also have your own segment on Dave Campbell's Rising as well. And here's a guy.
Here's
So
a
you're
guy.
just going around.
That'll be
You
a
are-
recurring segment, unlike this. That'll never happen
Correct.
again.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's talk about. Where do you want to start? You mean just pick a random one out of the
Pick
3
a
that we
random
have?
one. I can talk. I'm ready to talk about any of these 3 guys.
Okay. Let's start off with Temple. Temple just made, or I guess they just, what is the word I'm looking
Promoted.
for? Promoted
Yes.
their offensive coordinator, Chad President, taking over for Coach Stewart, who's been their coach there for quite some time now. Was their offensive coordinator for the past couple years, and he was promoted to head coach. And I really do think that's a fantastic hire because you're taking over a program that is already filled, especially on the defensive side, with a ton of talent. I think this was a great hire, inside hire for the Temple Wildcats.
Well, you've been all over the recruiting beat for Dave Campbell, so you know about cornerback Jason Bradford, defensive end Jamarian Carlton. Bradford is 6'2" and a half, that long, rangy corner.
Yeah, they've been shining since their sophomore season, so these guys have experience there.
And multiple sport athletes too, which I know Coach President loves. So Coach President's an offensive guy by trade. He is a Temple man through and through. 3rd generation Wildcat. His uncle was on the 1992 state championship football team. And Chad President was the quarterback in 2014 for the state finalist team. Had a hell of a game against Aledo. And then went on to play quarterback at Tulsa. And now is back the youngest head coach, I believe, in 6A. And also the first African-American head coach at Temple. 28 years old. It's fantastic. And for those
No kidding.
people who think like, oh, this was kind of just like an internal hire, they kind of just handed him this job. There were 50 candidates for this job right here.
That's what I was going to ask is who were the other candidates for this job that were potentially making that push?
Oh, I don't know who all the other candidates were, but I know there was about 50 and he had to go through 2 rounds of interviews. And for those who wonder, like, is he not ready for this job at 28 years old? Wise beyond his years. I talked to his head coach at Tulsa, Philip Montgomery. He said, basically, Philip Montgomery at Tulsa and Mike Spradlin, who was his coach at Temple, they were in a bidding war to hire Chad President right outside of college to come coach for them. And Chad President chose to go to Rockwall Heath as an offensive coordinator QB coach under Mike Spradlin and actually coached Josh Hoover, who's now at TCU.
TCU, yeah.
So his offense is that air raid style. It's from the Art Briles offensive coaching tree because Spradlin was a teammate of Briles at Houston. So you're going to see a lot of the same offensive style from Temple. And he also, last year as the offensive coordinator, led them back from a 2-8 record, I believe, in 2023.
2023, they went 1-9.
1-9.
Actually.
And what'd they go last year?
7-4.
Yeah, so really good improvement.
I think so too. I think it, like you said, it was a great hire into. I think having an offensive-minded guy there at the head coaching helm is only going to do wonders for this program. I think they're on the come up, right?
Yeah.
But I think that this is going to make it to where they're going to take that extra step up and be elite.
And Temple's such an interesting school too because it's a one-horse town, a 6A high school, and you really don't get that. So the support there is second to none. And Chad President is one of Temple's own. Like I wrote in the story, he used to go to his grandmother's house and they'd have pictures of the Temple football players, his uncle, his father playing. So he's just been so steeped in the tradition. He's a Temple man through and through. Like this was his dream job since he was 12 years old. And that's kind of enthusiasm you want from a coach taking over there.
Yeah, I love it. So funny enough, actually, all three of these coaches that we're going to be talking about were offensive coordinators beforehand that now are head coaches.
All the sexy hires.
Exactly. All of the splash sexy hires. I love it. Okay, so yeah, I love that. I love that hire for Temple. What shall we go to now? Let's talk about Hutto.
Okay.
Because I really
love
correct. Speaking of offense, Hutto names Eli Reinhardt the new head coach of the Hippos. Of course, if that name sounds familiar, he was the offensive coordinator for North Crowley last season, claiming a 6A Division I state title game under head coach Ray Gates. One of the, if not the most prolific offenses in Texas high school football this season.
Where does it rank for you of watching Texas high school football last year? Like, where does North Crowley's offense rank in terms of the best ones? To me, it's the fastest one.
I think it's the fastest one. I mean, you got dudes everywhere, and Quentin Gibson obviously had a lot to do with that as well, and Chris Jimerson now at UNT. I just think that they had fast dudes everywhere, and I loved watching them.
But I tell you what, there is a sentiment out there that North Crowley just had all these, and they had great players, but it wasn't any coaching. And I can tell you, a lot of that was Eli Reinhardt coaching. He became one of the hottest offensive coordinators in Texas high school football. They were 42-2 over his 3 years and scored 50 points per game. And when I went out to do a story on him, I was wondering where he came from because it seemed like he came out of nowhere. And he's actually a Michigan man. So he
coached Michigan high school football, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Where did he coach in Michigan?
Montrose.
Montrose.
So his father, adopted father, he was adopted from South Korea into Michigan high school football royalty. His adopted father, Dennis Reinhardt, was the head coach at Montrose. And Eli, actually, when he went to Saginaw Valley State for college, was the offensive coordinator for Montrose in college.
Okay.
So a lot of what you saw at North Crowley is a lot of motion, getting their athletes in space as much as they could, basically basing off the triple option principles that they had in Michigan, they now do in the RPO schemes at North Crowley. And that's all from him coaching small school football at Michigan. So that's why I think this is going to work out.
That's super interesting.
It's going to work out so well at Hutto because Hutto has the dudes. But Eli Reinhardt, the reason North Crowley was so good is because they had the dudes, but he still coaches like he's coaching small school football in Michigan.
Yeah, I think those skills really are going to translate there for Hutto. I just actually looked it up because I didn't know where Montrose is. It's actually, if you're looking at Lansing, Michigan, and you go north and a little bit east, it's right there, kind of like that northeastern.
So Sparty territory?
Yes, kind of a little bit of. Can you ask him if he likes Michigan State?
I knew there was a reason you liked Eli Reinhardt. Michigan man.
I think he's a great coach, and I think he's got exquisite taste in hopefully his college team.
And you know what's so interesting too is that he basically came to Texas on a whim from Michigan because he was in the college coaching ranks. He was at Central Michigan as a QC, an analyst. So he wasn't on the field coaching. He missed that. And Kevin Barbay, the old offensive coordinator at Houston, kept talking about Texas high school football. He's from Sweetwater, I'm pretty sure. And he just talked about how awesome it was. And Eli was like, I want to go coach at the highest level in Texas. So in 1 week, he put his name on the job board for Texas High School Coaches Association, got a call from Austin Anderson. They said, hey, do you want to come interview at this little convention we have called Coaching School? That was his first introduction to Texas high school football, was THSCA convention in 2021.
What do you think his thoughts were when he walked into that building?
It had to be blown. Yeah. He said he had so many interviews there. He basically got offered the Austin Anderson job. If you want an introduction to Texas high school football, THSCA coaching convention is trial by fire.
There are so many coaches there. Yeah. It's almost overwhelming when you walk into that convention center for the first time. But man, that's a cool story.
So he spends really 1 year at Austin Anderson, goes to North Crowley. Ray Gates does not know who he is in the interview, and was just so enthralled by him in the interview, he offered him the job right there. So it's a shout out to Ray Gates too for taking a chance.
Ray Gates knows how to hire. He absolutely knows how to hire. But I think North Crowley's gonna be okay. But big shout out to Coach Reinhardt there. I mean, congratulations on getting the head coaching job at Hutto.
And by the way, Hutto's a team that scores points all the time. I mean, Will Hammond,
he's gonna thrive.
From a couple years ago.
Will Hammond, who's now at Tech. Yeah, he's gonna thrive in that offense. I really do think so. Or at the helm of that offense, I should say. Okay, let's round it out here. We've got one more that we think is super interesting. Houston Memorial hires former Richmond Randall offensive coordinator.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, Brooks Hack to lead Houston Memorial in the next coming seasons. I like that because, much like North Crowley, I think Richmond Randall's offense was so much fun last year. It was just a lot of the thing I liked about it is they just got tricky with it. Yeah. They dialed up those plays. So I went to the state semifinal game this year, the 5A Division II state semifinal between Bernie and Richmond Randall, and that was kind of the first time that I had ever laid eyes directly on Richmond Randall. I mean, we knew that they were good. Like that defense was one of the best defense up until the state championship game against South Oak Cliff. They hadn't allowed more than 14 points to be scored on them the entire season, and they were playing teams like Iowa Colony and Richmond Foster and stuff like that. So they were playing good offensive teams. Their defense was just amazing. Not to take away, obviously, that we're talking about their offense, but I mean, they also had dudes like Keelan Sweeney back there who kind of stepped in at quarterback every once in a while to run some trick plays. Obviously, you have one of the best running backs in the class of 2027 in Landon Callis-Williams.
If not the best, he's a dog.
He is. Landon Williams-Callis, excuse me. I always switch those two around. But really, really led a fantastic offense that obviously led them to a state title in 2024.
Yeah, this one, yes, the offensive scheme is great, but he started that program with Brian Randall from the ground up. 4 years ago, when they started the school, they were unloading weight room equipment off 18-wheelers. They were having to figure out how to do summer strength conditioning without weights. It's really remarkable how they beat South Oak Cliff in their third season as a varsity program.
That's important to mention.
South Oak Cliff had 4 consecutive state championship appearances. That was more years than Richmond Randall was a program.
Yep, I know.
Which is unbelievable. So Brooks Hack this is an interesting case because he was actually a star quarterback at Katy, which is 20 minutes away from Houston Memorial. And Houston Memorial had a legendary head coach, Gary Koch, who had been there since 1992. So Brooks has seen Houston Memorial from a 4,000-foot view and what Coach Koch did, but it's the exact opposite of Coach Koch, who'd been there for so long. Now Brooks Hack is a very young, up-and-coming coach, first-time head coach. Really intrigued to see how they do, and I know Houston Memorial has some really good dudes in that program. This might not be like they go super deep in the playoffs right away.
This might be more a slow build,
a
more slow, like kind of rebuild kind of thing with this program. And Yeah, they're like, they went 5-6 last 2023, 8-4 2022. So it's not like this is a team that needs a complete rebuild, right? Just a guy that can kind of step up and be that leader and that voice for this team.
Some of the reason these three names are intriguing to me is because they're so young and they're first-time head coaches. If you want to talk about, is Brooks Hack ready for this job? I think he is, because his father, Caleb Hack, was a Katy softball coach for 26 years, won 2 state championships. But then his mother, Leslie Hack, is the deputy superintendent in Katy ISD. So he is not only seen how to coach from his father, but he's also seen how to coach from his mother, but how to work with a team of adults and be an administrator. So he's got the best of both worlds. There's a funny story I wrote about in the feature piece. So Leslie Hack started the softball program at Katy Cinco Ranch, and they played Katy team. And I believe this is 2001. So they had Maddie, Brooks' older sister, in the Katy Cinco Ranch dugout in the Cinco Ranch shirt. They had Brooks in the Katy dugout with Katy's shirt on. Well, Katy wins 10-0. And Leslie, after the game, she's all fired up. She looks back. Maddie's not there. She's in the Katy dugout across the way.
That's phenomenal.
And Leslie was like, "That's what I couldn't be a softball head coach going against my husband, or
that'd be so
our marriage
tough.
would fall apart."
Oh my gosh, no, that would be so tough. What a phenomenal story, though. And you actually got to go to? Did you go to all these schools and actually do these interviews in person?
Nope.
No.
Did them on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, they are kind of all pretty far from where we are here in Louisville, but. No, I love those, and I love that you're able to kind of focus on that kind of featuring stuff now as our high school feature writer at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. So last question I want to ask you before we move on. Do you have any other super intriguing coaching hires that have happened here in the past couple of months that you think people should keep their eye on? Did you have any?
I did not, but let me look. I can. I know we were talking about Bernie promoting from within for their head coach, and they're doing Brett Sawyer, who was the defensive coordinator, because Che Hendricks is now
at Arkansas, right?
At Arkansas, took the college job,
and I think that's a really attractive job too for Bernie. I mean, like I said, they made it to the 5A Division II state semifinals last year, but that's always a team that seems to know their groove and have dudes too. So I knew that was going to be an attractive job to any kind of coach. They were going to offer that too.
And they have all the weapons there, and it's one horse town again that Che Hendricks really built up. I mean, his son Hank is a quarterback. He was on one of our Rising Cover boys. So yeah, Brett Sawyer, that's an intriguing one. That's what I'm keeping an eye on.
All right. Well, good stuff. Yeah, we are Women Talking Football. We're here mostly every Wednesday during the football season. Obviously, we've got a couple of changes here now during the off season. We're only going to be once a month. We're going to be specifically the second Wednesday of every month leading up to probably August is when we'll start our full-time schedule back up again. But we will have content for you live every Wednesday. Next week it'll be Tep and Step, and then we'll close out the month with Dave Campbell's Rising, our new recruiting show featuring the one and only Greg Powers. And then the first Wednesday of every month will be your podcast, The Republic of Football, our college football exclusive podcast. So we've got one more segment for you. We're going to talk a little bit of Cruton. So excited.
I'm not going to steal valor from another show.
You're on thin ice, buddy. You're on thin ice right now. I wouldn't do that.
I'm just stealing everyone's bit.
Before we get to the Cruton stuff, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
30-yard line, the 20, the 10. Touchdown!
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Many athletes want to gain weight, or specifically build lean muscle mass to help improve performance. To do this, you must be committed to consuming more calories than needed to maintain your body weight. That means more carbohydrates, more protein, and more healthy fat. This can be challenging for some people, but it's required to put your body in an anabolic or building state. The key, consistency. This is a commitment that must be followed through 7 days a week to see the muscle mass gains you want. So how do you do it? Here are 5 tips to help. First, eat often. The goal is to eat a meal or snack every couple of hours, starting with breakfast. A high-calorie breakfast containing carbohydrates, high-quality protein, and healthy fats is essential to kick the body out of catabolism or breakdown mode and put it into anabolic or building mode. Second, swap your snacks. Leave the goldfish and crackers behind and fuel your body with nutrient-dense snacks like energy bites and trail mix. These snacks have more calories per bite, making them ideal for weight gain. Third, add more healthy fats to your eating routine. Foods like nuts, nut butters, trail mix, seeds, and avocado can help add calories to meals and snacks. Fourth, make high-calorie food exchanges. That means get more calories into what you are already eating. For example, eat a bagel instead of bread, granola instead of a sugar-sweetened cereal, and trail mix instead of popcorn. Finally, fuel your body with nutrient-rich beverages like milk, chocolate milk, and smoothies. They can help provide the calories and high-quality protein you need to build muscle. If you have a hard time remembering to eat, set reminders on your calendar until it becomes a habit. Remember, consistency is key when it comes to building muscle. And as an athlete, that means you have to fuel up day in and day out.
Welcome back to Women Talking Football here on International Women's Month. I'm joined here by Carter Yates. Once again.
I didn't leave. I didn't get kicked out in the commercial break. We're still here.
I almost did. I almost gave in and was like, nah, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Like, that was fun. Not
was
really. Please leave.
Correct. I did want to mention real quick before we switch over to some Cruton talk is you can literally find all of the coaching changes all across the state of Texas on our website at texasfootball.com/ can you go coaching changes? I think it's texasfootball.com. It's behind the paywall, so you got to be a subscriber to look at all those coaching changes. But literally, Matt Stepp is doing the Lord's work out here, and he is he is our literal Texas high school football coaching changes insider this time of year. So we've got a ton of content up now on texasfootball.com. You can see all the coaching changes all across the state of Texas if you are a subscriber. All right. Shall we get to some Cruton talk?
I think we should.
Okay. So this is kind of my bread and butter here. I've been grinding away.
You've been grinding the tape
on the class of 2026, 2027, even some 2028s.
Hey, wait, I have a question. Have you watched more Huddle film in the last 2 months than you did combined in your life before that? You're watching so much tape.
I am watching a lot of tape. Here's the thing, though. I think I watched a lot of tape for Heart and Hustle.
Yes.
But I didn't have as much time to watch the tape during the football season because I was doing other jobs, producing a whole Friday night show and then taking care of the Texan Live branch, DFW Texan Live branch. And so I didn't get to watch as much Huddle tape as my heart desired. But now my full-time job at this company is recruiting.
Oh, that's such a dream. Cut out all that administrative stuff just for ball 24/7.
And let me add a little bit of sprinkle to the cupcake. Greg Powers is my direct report.
Could be better?
I know. Isn't that awesome? So yeah, I've watched a lot of Huddle tape and very excited to be full-time recruiting now. But we were talking about what we wanted to do for this segment. And you specifically asked me, and it kind of overlaps with your job just a little bit since you're still on the Republic of Football, our college football exclusive podcast on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Airways. Which college programs do I think are doing the best on the recruiting trail for the class of 2026? Yep. And I'll now turn it over to you because you had some questions.
So which ones are doing the best?
Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, you're just gonna make me talk the whole time, I guess. That's fine. I'm just kidding.
I'm wondering, there's 13. Surely we just got through 2025, putting a stamp on those. Those kids are already getting into those colleges, but recruiting's what have you done for me lately, right? And everyone's already looking over to 2026. So, Mallory, who's a school that you're just looking at their class and there's a long way to go, but you're liking where they're set up right now?
Yeah, it's very early. Obviously, early National Signing Day isn't until December, so a lot of things can happen. I mean, recruiting changes like that, I've learned. You know, you could record one video one day and then 5 minutes later, it's
Old
irrelevant
news.
now. It's old news because kids, you know, they'll decommit or coaching changes will happen. You know, it's just that time of year to really, you got to keep your eye on it constantly or you're going to miss something, right? So far in the class of 2026, I think that I like the Baylor Bears. Yeah.
So when you say you like the Baylor Bears, who's your favorite prospect that Baylor has right now?
Okay, so I have two, but I'm only going to talk a short amount of time about them. They both kind of correlate in the same way, but I want to talk about London Smith first. The wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver out of Waco University. And funny enough, Powers, and Ish were actually going to go watch him play in person this past season. Waco U played Lampasas, which was a great game for prospects all around. I mean, Lampasas had some dudes, Waco U had some dudes, but we got word on the way there that London Smith was actually out due to injury.
He only played 6 games last year.
He only played 6 games last year, and you can see his huddle tape here right now. But that doesn't take away from the kind of just all-out athlete that this guy is. So I don't think this commitment really came as a surprise to me and to other people. One, he's staying at home, right? He gets to play a couple minutes. He gets to play college ball at the P4 level a couple of minutes away from his hometown, right? And his dad, Rodney Smith, was a 3-year starter at safety for Baylor back in the 90s.
Also, his mom was the 1999 triple jump champion at Baylor.
Yeah. So obviously, he's just a great athlete.
Yeah, how did this guy become so good at football, I wonder?
I know, seriously. It's kind of like the perfect marriage between the two, right? Like, he's just an all-out athlete. But he's 6 foot, 175-pound frame. He chose Baylor over big-time programs like Texas A&M, Alabama, Oregon, a couple more of those. He's been a starter on varsity since his freshman season and kind of just possessed that natural skill set from early on. I think that's why he was getting a lot of early looks from these colleges and why Baylor was able to jump in on him pretty early, because he just possessed that natural skill set that you look for at the next level guy, right? He did really well this season, 132 catches for 2,102 yards and 22 touchdowns. I think it's pretty safe to say that he might be one of the best receivers in the class of 2026.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so
I watched some of his tape and I could agree with that.
Yeah, he's very elusive. I just really, really like him as an athlete. So
the second one you said correlates to London Smith. How does it correlate?
It correlates because they were able to keep another 4-star at home. And that's Jamarian Vincent out of Waco Connolly. He's also a 4-star, and he chose Baylor over programs like Texas, Houston, Kansas State, and a couple others. And here's what I love about this, too. So Waco Connolly, they've produced some cornerbacks here and there over the past couple years.
Kobe Black was from there,
I was
right?
going to say,
Kobe and Corey?
Does Kobe Black ring a bell to you? Who's
ding,
now
ding.
at Texas? I actually wrote his cover boy story in the magazine 2 years ago. Something like that. So I actually got to talk to him. Really good, really great guy, but he's killing it at Texas, of course. But Jamarian Vincent kind of bursted onto this scene as a sophomore, and he's a baller. He's an athlete. He plays corner, of course, and quarterback. So he's playing both ways there at Waco Connolly. Obviously very athletic. He stands at 6'2", 165 pounds, but he is a guy to watch there at Waco Connolly, and it was massive for Baylor to keep both of these two guys at home.
You know, Waco Connolly does that because Kavian Gaither, the Sam Houston linebacker, was a Connolly graduate. He played quarterback too, and safety there. So they just put their best athlete there,
They really do.
And I'm looking at the stats. He ran for 1,100 yards, passed for 818, and then had 8 pass breakups. Does this guy ever come off the field?
Not
Probably
really. Not really. And that's kind of that's kind of what you look for, you know, and those guys. So really, really pumped to see Baylor kind of keep those 2 guys at home and seeing this recruiting class kind of burst onto the scene like that.
So those are the 2 headliners. Who's someone that people just aren't talking about enough from the Baylor Bears?
Okay, we'll go quarterback. Quinn Murphy out of Argyle Liberty Christian. Now, just a quick side note here. I think we have released, maybe not yet. We've released our top 10 quarterback rankings for the class of 2026. Powers and I did. We actually recorded a short video over them yesterday.
That video is up on YouTube.
That video is up on YouTube. You can look at the full article on texasfootball.com/recruiting, and then you can look at player profiles and rankings. We got all that stuff up right now. Quinn Murphy checking in as the 10th quarterback in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. And obviously watching his tape, it's easy to see why. So he was actually at Austin Regents beforehand, before coming to Argyle Liberty Christian and playing under the famous Jason Witten.
Who's that? I'm just kidding.
He passed for 2,183 yards and totaled 32 touchdowns. This obviously giving him second team TAPS Division I, District 1 honors.
Wait, did you say 43 touchdowns and 3 interceptions? I saw that on his stat sheet.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. We have him rated as a 3-star. He's committed to Baylor. Obviously, like I just said, and he's found a lot of success, obviously, at the private school ranks. Argyle Liberty Christian is one of those schools, too, that always seems to be in the conversation, at least the past couple of years, in the conversation of state championships. And that's because Quinn Murphy is a winner. I mean, this team is loaded anyways, but Quinn Murphy there being kind of the quarterback and being like the, I guess, quarterbacking the team.
He's not
the
just
captain
a game
of
manager,
the team.
though.
He's right.
You know what I mean?
Right. No, I'm not saying that.
No, I know that's what
Yeah.
you're saying. You're saying he's not a game manager. He's a winner. Like, of
Right.
course, their team's loaded, but it's not like he's just dinking and dunking.
No.
You watch his tape and he's rolling around, juking guys out, like shows a lot of functional
Definitely.
athleticism.
Well, and here's the thing, too, is I was talking to Powers about it yesterday. He was saying to me that when you watch his tape, yeah, it's impressive, but you got to go out there and actually see him in person, because you don't see how tight those balls that he can throw. That doesn't really translate all over huddle tape, right? I think you really got to see him in person to see that. He gets the ball out really quick.
You can't hear it whiz on the huddle tape.
No, you cannot. You cannot. Usually there's music over the huddle tape, right? So you
Yeah.
can't hear that. But and then he also gives his receivers just super catchable balls. So his receivers love him. He's well coached. He's going to be a winner at Baylor. I really think this is going to be the future for the Baylor Bears.
Okay, you heard it here first on Women Talking Football. Quinn
Yeah.
Murphy is the future. So I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Who are some official visits that you're excited
Okay.
for?
All right. Let me pull it up. Okay. Let's
It's
see.
official visit season.
It is. So speaking of Temple and Temple's defense, Jamarian Carlton
There we go.
is taking an official visit to Baylor Friday, June 20th. So that would be another 4-star that they could kind of keep at home. Temple's kind of in that Waco area. I mean, it's not super close, but it's within the vicinity.
Baylor was
I
on a
would
roll
say.
in the 2025 class, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They've got so much momentum.
Right. I love KJ Edwards, too, the running back at Carthage. I think Keenan Hall is a great recruiter and a great running backs coach at Baylor. I wouldn't be surprised if something's happening there. He also has an official visit scheduled to Texas as well. And then I know one of your favorites,
Who?
Donovan Webb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Donovan Webb.
Yeah. So we made him a 4-star in the 2026 rankings not too long ago. So we did a whole video about him. But just a couple of guys to keep your eyes on. Of course, nothing is set in stone. These are just official visits. But a lot of big names that they're
Yeah.
able to at least get on campus and get eyes on the facilities and on the coaching staff and how the current team's playing.
And Donovan Webb has blown up. Like, he's got an Ohio State offer, like a bunch of other Big Ten SEC offers, right? But Baylor was very early on him. I remember watching his recruitment as a sophomore, and Baylor offered him. And that was the first big time offer I saw that Donovan Webb got. Like, oh, this guy's going to be special. So and a lot of other schools came way late on Donovan Webb. Like they were going to see Jalen Lott. And the Panther Creek coaches are like, can you come look at Donovan Webb too? And the coach would be like, how have we not heard about this guy? Like, this guy's unreal. So,
I know. Seriously.
let's go to Houston now. Same questions. Who's your favorite prospect on the Houston Cougars? I think I know who the answer might be.
Really? Do you know?
He is the number one player on DCTF right now.
Yes. No surprise here. I think Houston's done a great job of their supporting cast as well. I think Willie Fritz has done a good job of kind of taking the program as his own and his kind of recruiting his own guys here, as you're seeing in the 2026 cycle. But you cannot mention the class of 2026 for Houston without talking about Keyshawn Henderson, the quarterback there at Houston Legacy. And this is going to be one of the most closely watched commitments in this next coming year, because we have him, like you said, rated as the number one overall player in the class of 2026. We have him rated as an athlete. We do not have him rated as a quarterback. Just want to make that clear. Just that quick side note. He committed to Houston super early, back in May of 2024. And the thing about him is, if you go on his profile, his Twitter profile, he shows a lot of love to Houston. A lot of love. So he was at the basketball game, the Houston Cougars basketball game, last week or a couple weeks ago or something like that. But he took a picture with the mayor.
They're doing the full court press.
Yeah, seriously.
Got the mayor out there taking pictures.
They literally are putting the full court press on Keyshawn Henderson. As expected.
A lot of people look at his recruitment from the outside. He's got so many offers. They're like, how is Houston going to keep him? But he shows a lot of love to Houston. And also his head coach, Michael Bishop at Legacy School of Sports Sciences, played under Willie Fritz.
Correct. Exactly. Well, and here's the thing I think that Keyshawn Henderson likes about Houston is, it's no secret Houston's been down the past couple of years, right? They're bringing in Connor Wigman to be kind of that immediate impact starter at quarterback. I think as a freshman, Keyshawn could start.
For sure. 100%.
And I think that makes this very attractive to him.
Yeah.
6'3", 185 pounds, very tall, very wiry, and just a true athlete. He's a dual threat. He's just as much of a threat as he is with his arm as he is with his legs. And he had a really dominant showing at the Navy All-American Bowl a couple of weeks ago, and he just earned his 5th star in the 247 rankings. He now ranks, he's the best player in Texas in 247 and the second overall quarterback in the class of 2026 nationally on 247. So if Willie Fritz can keep this guy at home,
it'd be crazy.
This might change the trajectory for this program, I think. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, he's a program changing
He's
type
a program changing type prospect, but got to keep him at home first. This is one that people are going to keep their eyes on.
So Keyshawn's obviously the headliner here, but who's an underrated guy that you're looking at has a commit right now that you're like, he could develop into something really special?
You want to talk some offensive line?
Do I? I love, yeah. Let's talk the O-line.
Let's do it. We'll talk about Port Neches Grove's interior offensive lineman, Aaron Wolford. He committed to play for Houston pretty recently, back in January, maybe middle of February or something like that. But he chose Houston over in-state programs like Baylor, SMU, Texas Tech, had an offer from Purdue as well, and a couple of others. Just a big-bodied offensive lineman. 6'4", 290 pounds. He's just an absolute menace on the offensive front there.
He and Jackson Christian, who's now at Texas,
correct,
were the stalwarts of the offensive line, which was honestly the strengths of the Port Neches Groves football team. Coming off that state championship victory, they were unproven in the skill positions, but their offensive line, they're like, games are won up front, and would they go like, I know they didn't make it back to state, but they were very good last year. And Jackson Christian and Aaron Wolford were both first-team all-district offensive linemen. Oh,
definitely. Well, and I think one of the things that Houston likes about Aaron Wolford
12-2.
12-2, right. Is that he's flexible on the offensive line, right? So he has experience playing at tackle, but most likely he'll probably slide inside and play as a guard. But he's got that flexibility that I think a lot of coaches are now looking for in big body of offensive linemen like that. So really excited to see if they're, I mean, I think that Port Neches Groves is pretty close to the Houston area. I think that they're going to be able to keep him at home. But I think that's just a super intriguing commitment that might be flying a little bit under the radar.
And honestly, I would bet if you looked at high D1 level offensive linemen that are guards and centers, like they played tackle in high school.
No,
like
absolutely.
Jake Majors, when at Prosper, he was a center at Texas. He played tackle in high school. I know a lot of other dudes like that transition to the inside, but left tackle, right tackle, that's where you put your best offensive lineman a lot of the time.
100%. The more versatile you are, the more attractive you are, I'd say.
All right, let's go to official visits to monitor for the Houston Cougars.
Official visits. Okay. Speaking of Temple again, Jason
Wow,
Bradford.
Temple episode.
Jason Bradford, Thursday, June 19th. He'll be taking an official visit to Houston. I'm kind of just looking at the list here. How about Jermaine Bishop? Out of Willis.
One of the most electric players in
One
Texas
of the
football.
very electric, fast, speedy, a lot of different skill sets to get at his name, but love him as well. And they've already got a couple of other commits too that I really like. Yaheem Riley out of Austin LBJ. We've been following him for a couple of years now. But yeah, just a list full of dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are 5 total commitments here in the class of 2026 for the Houston Cougars. Kevon Roberts, which we actually talked about on Dave Campbell's Rising when we previewed Port Arthur Memorial. Aaron Wolford, Keyshawn Henderson, Yaheem Riley, and Xavier Fleming. They're out of Louisville.
Houston, in 1 year under Willie Fritz, went from 14th in the Big 12 recruiting class, like 4th in the Big 12 in the recruiting class. So it's a shout out to Willie Fritz and Wes Fritz and Casey Smithson there in the player personnel department. I think they do a really good job of scouting talent.
I think so too. And again, it's still really early. I mean,
yeah,
we're really, really early in this 2026 recruiting cycle. But
after we release this video, fingers
and
crossed.
you know what? With our luck, it probably will happen.
Probably.
But there you go. There's a quick inside look to the class of 2026 and how the Texas college programs are looking so far in this early recruiting cycle. But did you have fun today?
I had a blast.
Yeah?
It's one of the most fun days I've had at work in a long time.
Really? That's huge.
It's such a crazy turnaround because when I walked into work today, I spilled my water bottle all in my sock on the
I didn't know
floor.
that.
Yeah, you had your headphones on. You can't really hear when you got your headphones on.
I can't hear in general.
I yelped because my big water bottle opened and went all down my jeans. And to think I started from there and got to be on Women Talking Football after that, just it's not how you get out of bed in the morning.
This was a prime example of hot and cold, literally cold, and then now you're on your hottest.
This is also a
streaks.
prime example of being in the right place at the right time. The best ability is availability.
Well, I'm so glad you had fun. We probably won't invite you back,
That's
and not
okay. And
not
I
to
do
any
that.
fault of your own, but I need my co-host back. I need my best friend
I
back,
get it.
Ashley Pickle.
I get it. I'm a Jacoby Brissett of the Women Talking Football. I'm like an emergency spot starter.
Yeah, correct. Vinay, if you had to rank his performance from 1 to 10, what would you say?
I would say a 10 out of 10.
There we go.
It was a great performance by Carter.
I don't think Mallory agrees.
We got to go at least 9. We need some room for improvement.
All right. 9,
At least a little bit. I'm kidding.
I'm coachable.
I'm versatile. I'm
I'm
coachable.
versatile and coachable.
10 out of 10 because this is the one and only time. This is the one and only time.
Correct.
We don't have to see him again. So
Yeah. She's talking to me nice as she kicks me out the door. You were so
Correct.
great by slam.
Correct. Well, I think that'll do it for us. One more quick reminder on our programming note. Of course, we are only doing Texas football today on Mondays and Thursdays as of right now, and then we are switching between shows on Wednesdays every single week. So we will give you programming on Wednesdays of some sort. It just might be not Women Talking Football. It could be Tep and Step, which is the third Wednesday of every month, which will be next week. It could be Dave Campbell's Rising, our newest recruiting show. That will be the last Wednesday of every month. And then the first Wednesday of every month is the Republic of Football, our college football exclusive only podcast.
Breaking news, Ashley Pickle has rated my performance at a -7.
Beat me to it.
Honestly, higher than I was
You know
expecting.
what? I actually love that. I think I agree with her. I'm just kidding. Okay, we've gone on too long. I can't give you any more directions.
We should have stopped the
Do
count.
you have anything else to say?
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're so
And
welcome.
happy International Women's Month.
Happy International Women's Month. We will be back in a month, and I promise you, Ashley Pickle actually might not be back because she'll be down in Houston. We'll bring her on remote.
She'll
We
be
are not
back.
letting her miss another Women
It's a month
Talking
away.
Football. We're not letting her miss another Women
You can at
Talking
least
Football.
promise that I won't be here.
Yeah, you're not going to see Carter again. For Carter Yates and Vianney Moreno, I'm Mallory Hartley. Thanks so much for tuning in to episode 85 of Women Talking Football, and we will see you next time with Ashley Pickle.